Today, let's talk about private custom nodes in n8n. n8n is growing massively in popularity, and one of the key drivers behind that growth is its community node ecosystem. But what really sets n8n apart from many of its competitors is that you can self-host it on your own servers and infrastructure. That makes it extremely appealing for organizations and enterprises that care about flexibility, data control, and security. Now, if in one of those environments, you often need to connect to internal systems, maybe a legacy ERP or a database that's only accessible inside your network. And that's exactly where private custom nodes come into play. But if you've ever read the official n8n documentation on private nodes, yeah, it's a bit disappointing. It talks about updating Docker files, copying code from your dist folder into a custom directory. Not ideal, compared to the seamless install and update flow of community nodes. So it feels pretty outdated. So I started asking myself, why can't we create private custom nodes the same way as community nodes? Just package them, publish to a private npm repository and install them into n8n directly. Let's see if that's possible. Here I've built a simple community node and published it publicly to npm. It installs easily in n8n, and updating to new versions is just as smooth. In a workflow, you can search for it, drop it into a node, and it outputs a simple JSON object. On npm, you can see it's listed as a public package. Now let's modify it to become private. Here's the node source. Still just outputting a small JSON object. Let's change the display name and update the package JSON to include the organization scope. That tells npm we are publishing it to a private repository under our own organization. I'll commit the code and run pnpm release. By the way, the new n8n CLI is excellent for creating and publishing custom nodes. Maybe I'll create a separate video just about that soon. Okay, publishing complete. Let's check npm. And there it is. The node is now listed as a private package under my organization. Next, let's jump back to n8n and try installing the package. Unfortunately, it throws an error. I didn't want to stop there, so I took a look inside the n8n source code itself. Even though the CLI is great, I still prefer building custom nodes on a fork of the n8n repository itself. It's a great way to learn from how the official nodes are implemented, and it's a type-based monorepo, so it's fairly easy to navigate. Inside that repo, the code that installs npm packages lives in a file called npm-utils.ts in the CLI package. Here you can see the Axios call that fetches the package from npm. To support private packages, I modified that request slightly. I added an npm auth token to the request headers. Hot reload restarts the server automatically, and now let's try it again. This time, installation from the community nodes page works perfectly. The private node installed successfully, and I can execute it like any other community node. Everything works exactly as expected. And just like before, if you want to update the node, you only need to publish a new version to your private npm repository and update it directly through the n8n admin interface. So simple. Now, of course, this isn't officially supported by n8n yet. The patch is easy, but it's not a long-term solution. If you would like me to raise an issue or a pull request on the official n8n GitHub repo, let me know down in the comments. I'm keeping an eye on this topic, and as soon as there is an update from the n8n team, I'll post a follow-up video. If you enjoyed this breakdown or learned something new, give it a like, drop a comment, and subscribe so you don't miss future deep dives into n8n. Thanks for watching and see you next time.